Now, if you're wondering why there's a lack of footage in this one, that's because this guy gets nailed for copyright constantly, and I didn't want to take any risks with this video, so I'm just showing footage from his writing tips video, which all of the footage in it was just pictures of his atrocity scorecards. So yes, in case you couldn't tell, number 10 is in fact Mr. Enter. For those who don't know about this guy, he does reviews of bad episodes of cartoons and sometimes bad anime movies called animated atrocities, and occasionally good episodes of cartoons, which he calls admirable animation. And also reviews of My Little Pony every episode, but he's not exactly known for that anymore. This guy can actually be pretty funny in his reviews. He's very sarcastic, like I said earlier with Todd in the Shadows, and he also has a lot of interesting things to tell about just writing in general, and like of storytelling and such. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm not gonna act like I agree with this guy on everything, particularly his troll video I disagreed with, but for the most part I find his stuff pretty enjoyable. Now, he is kind of a hit or miss sort of guy. On one hand, there is a lot to like, but on the other hand, if you were uncomfortable with how negative Josh Scorcher was, you are going to hate this guy. He can be brutal. And granted, he can also be pretty fair at times too, particularly his admirable animations, but a lot of the times, while he is fair with most of what he says, he is pretty negative. But you know what? I kind of find that enjoyable about his videos. Now, before I go, I have an open letter to a lot of Mr. Enter's fans. Guys, don't just love or hate something because he does. Try to watch it yourself and form your own opinions. Well, obviously, if it looks like something interesting to you. If it looks terrible, then obviously you don't want to watch it. But don't just love or hate something because he says it's awesome or bad. Heck, even he doesn't like it when people rip off his opinions. And trust me, I've fallen into this trap before myself, and I am not pleased to admit it. But yeah, with all that said, guys, Mr. Enter is very enjoyable, but please don't just automatically make his opinion your own. I don't know if this is much a surprise or not, but Super Mario Logan is only number 9 on the list. Now first, I'd like to start off by saying that out of all the people on my list, this is the only one who I know for a fact knows I exist, as he actually commented on my top 10 Super Mario Logan characters. And I owe a lot of my popularity to him or his fans coming over to my channel due to the videos I made about him. Now, for those of you who don't know, who by the way are probably also very new to my channel, Super Mario Logan is a YouTube channel where it's sort of like, I guess, a sitcom or something involving a bunch of stuffed animals and puppets and stuff, but it is really funny. Like, this guy is hilarious. He is really good at it. I've been watching SML since before I even started this account. It's so amazing. He's got great humor, and he's created a ton of memorable characters along the way. So many of his videos are really enjoyable. So now I bet you're asking the question why he's only number 9. The answer to that is Junior. Look, I'm not gonna lie, Junior is a big problem to this series. Pretty much, while occasionally he gets a good video, at least in my opinion, a lot of them are either really annoying or just plain forgettable. And they come out constantly. He never stops with Junior. He does so many of them. He has said that he's going to put a remedy on this, but knowing his track record with promises, I wouldn't automatically base my choice off of a promise he made. But if he is going to follow up on it, then he probably already has by the time you're watching this video. And if it weren't for this big problem, he'd probably be number 3 on the list. But as it stands, he's only number 9. But hey, that's not a bad place to be. Now look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch a whole lot of Let's Players. It's not that I have anything against them, it's just I don't really have the time. However, when it comes to Chuggaaconroy, he's the perfect example of what makes a good Let's Play and why so many people enjoy them. For those of you who managed to slog all the way through top 15 YouTubers, 1, I'm very sorry, and 2, you would know that Chuggaaconroy was number 1 on that list. So yeah, he's not number 1 anymore, but he's still pretty enjoyable. Now, what's so good about Chuggaaconroy? Well, it's just all the stuff that really makes a good Let's Player. First off, he's funny. He has a lot of really good, funny moments. That's one point about it. He also gives a lot of good emphasis to the game, praising it for how much he likes it whenever it gets to points like that, and is really good with it. he manages to convey the story and the overall experience of the game and really makes you want to play it. I've played some of my favorite games, whether it be the Pikmin series, Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, or Luigi's Mansion because of this guy. Whenever he starts up a new Let's Play, it always feels like a big new adventure is unfolding, and it's always pretty exciting. Also, similar to the Completionist, this guy tries to do the game 100% as to sort of give his audience the full experience of it. Some of my personal favorite Let's Plays from this guy include Okami because of the overall experience of the story and all of the efforts he went to talk about the Japanese mythology. His Let's Play of the original Pikmin, because I thought it was really interesting to see all his different strategies and stuff, and yes, I guess his running joke about Steve as well. And my personal favorite, his Animal Crossing New Leaf Let's Play, because it was really funny, gave a great way for the viewers to contribute, and was overall a really unique experience for a life simulation game of all things, and managed to put a lot of emotion into a game like that. Now, for those of you who were confused about what I said in my game theory video as to why I'm not watching his Xenoblade Chronicles Let's Play, which has recently ended, it's not because I have anything against Xenoblade Chronicles. I'm sure it's a fantastic game, I've heard many great things about it. But here's the thing, the videos he was uploading were on average half an hour every day, and I don't have the kind of time to watch that, and Xenoblade just isn't a game I have enough interest in to motivate me to watch for that much time every day. But even still, I'm looking really forward to his next Let's Play, whatever it may be, and I'll be ready to watch it. Does anyone remember this guy? Yep, I originally made a countdown about Goremy last year, and it was kind of a good idea to sort of shed some light on a sort of underrated and really funny YouTube musician who did songs about a bunch of random things. However, recently he hasn't been uploading a whole lot on his main channel and hasn't been making a whole lot of music videos on it. But that doesn't mean he's dead. Now he's doing a bunch of stuff for Reason TV. I know this is technically cheating as he's just a small part of Reason TV, but in my opinion he's by far the funniest part, and he originally had his own channel, so it kinda counts. Now instead of songs about random things, he does songs about random political things, and it is really good political satire, poking fun at a lot of things such as the NSA, TSA particularly, and even about stuff how hashtag campaigns flat out don't work. Despite being part of a different channel now and switching over to an entirely different topic, it still fits with his same style, and it's clear that Remy knows what he's doing and is really hilarious. If you live in the United States, because if you aren't familiar with all that stuff, it's probably not going to make sense, I'd highly recommend checking this guy out just to laugh at all the crazy stuff the government does. It's hilarious. Well, here we are at another reviewer. This one is Brutal Moose. Instead of Normal Boots, this guy's actually affiliated with Hidden Block. Now, what makes Brutal Moose's reviews different? Well, unlike Peanut Butter Gamer, who he's actually very similar to, he doesn't go all crazy and stuff. Well, not crazy really, just sort of whatever you call it when Peanut Butter Gamer acts all weird. He's super sarcastic all throughout, and it makes it really enjoyable, particularly when he just pokes fun at how weird the game is, which is why he tends to review a lot of really weird games. He also has his Lightning Round series, where he reviews a game in 2 minutes. Now, I really wish I could have found the music for these, because it would make a great music for this entry, but sadly I couldn't. And also, I think he might actually be stopping Lightning Round in favor of just doing shorter reviews and not limiting himself to 2 minutes. So, if you're in the market for a reviewer who's more on the sarcastic side and also does reviews of PC games for the most part, then I'd recommend checking out Brutal Moose, as he fits both those categories. And of course is good at it, so yeah, check him out. Fawful's Minion, in my opinion, is really a countdown maker who's firing on all cylinders. His humor, it's hilarious. His editing, it's probably the best out of any countdown maker that I've seen. His reasoning is also very good. You can really feel the passion in any video he's doing, whether it be all the rage in a negative list or the passion towards how much he loves something in a positive list. This guy has a lot of quotable lines in his videos. Not as much as a certain other YouTuber down the list, but really quotable at the same time. Honestly, unlike pretty much all the other countdown makers I listed on here, I find joy in pretty much any list that this guy puts out. Now, one of the downsides is that it takes him a while to make a list. However, he is doing a remedy to this, and considering how good his countdowns tend to be, not to mention also being pretty long, it's understandable the amount of time it takes for him to make them. In my opinion, this guy's the best countdown maker out there, and if you're a fan of countdowns in general, I really think you should give this guy a try. You probably won't be disappointed. Okay, time for my favorite normalboots.com reviewer. Yes, this reviewer is none other than Jon-Tron. Now, Jon-Tron is pretty famous in the realms of reviewing, and for good reason. This guy is hilarious. Like I said with Nigahiga earlier, not everyone can pull off a random style of humor, and just like Nigahiga, Jon does it perfectly. Like I said with Fawful's Minion, he had a lot of really quotable moments. Well, Jon has a whole slew of them. Heck, it got to the point where it was pretty much the norm for a countdown just to play a voice clip of his. Although that ship's kind of sailed, but I'm kind of glad about that because it was getting kind of annoying. But Jon himself is still hilarious. And all the sort of mini skits that he does in his reviews, sometimes not even amounting to anything, just being really funny. For those of you who don't know, he mostly reviews video games, sometimes TV shows and movies, but for the most part just video games, and trust me, he is hilarious when it comes to this stuff. He actually manages to be very serious when he needs to, sort of explaining, giving a background on stuff, and just giving all sorts of jokes with it whenever he really sees fit, and he does it beautifully. I remember his Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts review is still one of my favorite videos on the internet. Now, obviously, if you're into game reviews, I would really recommend checking this guy out. He's hilarious. I would say if he uploaded more, he would be in the top 3, because it takes a little bit of time for his stuff to come out, but it's always good when it does. Plus, the top 3 on this list are kind of hard to beat. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of prank channels on YouTube, but Ownage Pranks is truly something special. He does prank calls, and he is amazing at them. He's essentially, as I like to call it, the Sacha Baron Cohen of prank calls. Now, let me explain something very important. This guy isn't just laugh out loud funny. He's not just roll on the floor laughing funny. He's laugh so hard you're worried you're going to die funny. Okay, maybe that's a bit gruesome, but hey, he's still very, very funny. He has a total of 9 different characters that he uses to do prank calls, although he really only uses like 5 of them. Now, some of his pranks have different styles. Some of the longer ones tend to be just the prank call with subtitles, while he also has animated ones that do a lot more. Heck, it was even indicated by his Patreon video that he might actually be doing his own animated show with these animations, and while he hasn't released anything yet, I hope he goes through with it because it really looks like it has some potential. He also has prank requests, which really work in his favor. Basically, he'll have one of his fans request that he pranks one of their friends, and gives him a bunch of information to use on them. From calling a drug dealer and scaring him with a bunch of personal information, to even calling a guy who just got robbed and pretending to be the burglar. Heck, sometimes his pranks can actually count as community service. His IRS scam prank exposes a horrible scam that's hit many people, of course in a funny way. If you're into prank calls, this guy is a must-see, and even if you're not, it wouldn't hurt to give him a try. Just keep in mind there is a lot of swearing in his videos, but hey, what you gonna do about that? He's still hilarious. Now, some of you may not have heard of this guy, but trust me, the Wii Viewer is an awesome reviewer. Now, in case you couldn't tell from his username, he reviews Wii games, and, well, Wii U games now that the Wii's outdated, and is really enjoyable when he does do it. His reviews always sort of have a bit of a lighthearted and fun tone to them, and he has a lot of good jokes in them. He has 2 big things that really set him apart from the crowd. One, he tends to review lesser-known third-party titles because, let's face it, you don't exactly see a whole lot of reviews for them, while for something like, say, Call of Duty, you see a ton of reviews for. And the second is that he actually includes his kids in his reviews, and they're actually pretty good at reviewing too, almost as good as the Wii Viewer himself. and all of them in their reviews are really enjoyable. He also has some interesting year-end recap videos where he does his top 10 favorite and least favorite games that he reviewed that year. He also has his matchup videos, which are kind of like versus rants, but the interesting thing about them is that he actually has the categories be fan decided, and every single time sex appeal always ends up as a category. But he always says it in a goofy way. His reviews for the most part are actually really family friendly, which is kind of nice to see someone who can be hilarious without actually swearing. That's not to say he doesn't do adult jokes, but most of them are either so subtle that kids wouldn't pick up on it, or are in his M-rated games reviews, and heck, if they're watching a review for an M-rated game, they can handle that kind of humor. He also has 2 gameplay series that I actually watch. He has Bargain Bin, where he plays games for the Wii that he got for less than $5, and he has Man vs. Boy, where he plays against either the Little Wii Viewer or the Littlest Wii Viewer, and they're very entertaining to watch. He uploads a new review as well as another video about every week, and he's really entertaining whenever he does it. It can even be funny with his kids, especially when they get into arguments over the game. And really, this guy is really funny and you should check him out. If you want to get a good idea of this guy's work, you should probably check out either his greatest moments countdowns or his review of himself. Yes, he actually did that, and it's not just him patting himself on the back either. He's really fair in that review both ways. Yes, my number 1 is the Nostalgia Critic. Now what he does is he makes fun of bad movies. Nowadays he does the same thing, but also sometimes having a running sketch in the review sort of to tie into whatever he's reviewing and also being very funny at the same time. Now, I know a lot of people hate his new reviews because of this, but there's a good deal of reviews that don't really focus much on the sketches and just on the review, and occasionally have one as a quick joke in the style of stuff that he used to do. That's not to say that he's that much different from what he used to be. He still reviews movies in the same way, it's just now he has a whole bunch of sketches that are also hilarious. And my personal favorite reviews are the ones that really use them a lot. Some of my personal favorites including his Dr. Seuss reviews, his Alice in Wonderland review, and do you even need to get me started on Matrix Month? He only does reviews every other week now, but that's mainly due to the fact that he just needs more time to prepare for them. And in the weeks in between, he still does some interesting stuff, such as his editorials, where he brings up a lot of interesting points about entertainment, or what you never knew, where he points out a bunch of little interesting tidbits you probably never noticed in some of your favorite movies. Heck, occasionally he actually does a song in one of his reviews, and they're also pretty enjoyable. His reviews, while also being very funny and entertaining, also have some interesting morals as well, such as you need to focus on something being good rather than it being popular, or you can understand why someone likes something even if you can't like it yourself. Overall, the Nostalgia Critic has everything I could hope to look for in a good YouTuber. Great, hilarious humor, interesting points brought up in reviews, sketches that have a lot of effort put into them and are interesting to watch, great music, good morals, and a solid upload schedule. Overall, Nostalgia Critic is my favorite YouTuber ever, even though he's more of a Channel Awesome reviewer than anything. But still, he's my favorite. And none of you who hate modern Nostalgia Critic can change my mind about that. So that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed, and just let me know what some of your favorite YouTubers are. Now, also, if you're wondering why you in particular weren't on the list, keep in mind, just because I'm friends with you on the internet or in real life, that doesn't mean I'm going to put your channel on the list or anything. Anyway, I am Fawfulizer, and I really hope you guys enjoyed my biggest countdown yet. I've put a lot of effort into it.